How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be discussing my top 10 favorite secret rares in the Dragon Ball Super card game. Now I'm going to be ranking these cards based off of the art and characters that are featured in each card, not based off their playability, so make sure you guys keep that in mind as we go through this list. Before we jump into this video, make sure you guys hit the video with a like if you guys enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel so you guys don't miss any video like this, and answer the comment question of the day down in the comment section telling me your guys' favorite secret rare in the Dragon Ball Super card game. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions on the matter. But with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into this top 10 list. Alright, so kicking this list off, we have Baby Janemba. Now, I am a big fan of both Baby and Janemba respectively. Now, I feel like this card is just a little too busy for me in my opinion, just because I feel like the little side border things that they got, like kind of like, I don't know, like in the corners of them, I feel like that's just taking up too much space for the art in my opinion. I love that they have that silhouette of Baby in the background, and you know, you can make out most of Janemba like kind of fused with Baby, but I feel like there's a lot of Janemba that kind of gets lost in the card. I know it kind of took me a minute to kind of even realize where most of him was. The gold stamp that they put around the card, I feel like they could have placed a little better. I feel like it's just kind of like too much. You know, that's kind of why this card is kind of at the bottom for me. It's just too cluttered and too busy, and I feel like that just kind of takes away a lot of it, but I still love the two characters that are featured on this card. Next up, we got Super Saiyan 3 Gogeta. Another reason that I feel like this card will be ranked lower on my list is because I feel like it is also too busy and cluttered. It's not as busy and cluttered as Baby and Janemba were, but I feel like, you know, just if you look at the card straight off the bat, I feel like you can't even see Gogeta's right arm, which is kind of, I don't know why that bothers me so much, but it just does. Like, I feel like when I look at him, like, you can see his hand right here looking at you, but then it's like when you look for his other arm, like, you would think it'd be like right here, or like something like this or whatever, but it's not. Like, it's just not there at all. I don't know. That kind of kills it for me a little bit, but I do love the gold stamp that they use for like the electricity and like the flowing like swooshiness that they had. Really like the card. I just feel like they could have done a little bit better with it, but still love it nonetheless. Next up is Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta. Now, this is my favorite secret rare from the Realm of the Gods set. I was really hoping to pull this card, but I unfortunately didn't get lucky enough to do it. But man, just look at this card. It is so awesome. Like, you got Gogeta, you got Vegito, God, my mind is on fusions. You got Vegeta looking off to the side, all posed up with his royal blue aura like all around him and stuff, which just looks amazing. It pops so well, not to mention all the other blues that are in the card with like the gold like swirling like behind him, everything. Like, the card looks amazing. I love this card so much. The only reason it's lower on my list is because it's just Vegeta by himself. As we get more into the list, you'll see I favor more towards cards that have a bunch of cameos or a lot of characters on them, so that is part of the reason why he's lower on the list, but don't let that take away from how amazing this card is. I really hope to own this card one day in my collection. Next up is the Power of Patora featuring Vegito, Zamasu, and Kefla. I love this card so much. I love that the art style that they went with it, where they have Vegito like posed up like this, just looking at you, with Kefla and Zamasu in the background. They feature both of the types of Patora earrings, which I'm assuming are from each different universe. I'm sure one's from 7 and one is from 6. I love that they feature both of them on the card. The silhouettes look amazing behind them. They're not like taking over each other too much. Like, you can see each one really well. I love that Vegito is like the main character on the card as well. And plus, I love the aesthetic that they went with, where it's like blue and yellow, like behind, like, you know, blue is behind Zamasu, yellow is behind Kefla, and then like the edges, borders, like they're swapped colors for like each side. Like, such a nice little detail that I really like. I love the way that they did that. I really hope to own this card again with in my collection, but with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and move on to the next card. Okay, so the next card on our list is Baby Hatchiyak. I am a huge fan of Hatchiyak as well as Baby, like I mentioned earlier. I loved his introduction in Raging Blast 2. I loved the little movie that came with the game. He was honestly one of my favorite characters, and I love that they're both Tuffles. Like, the double Tuffle Saiyan Destroyer card, like, that's so sick in my opinion. Plus, I really feel like they did a lot better on this card with the silhouette of Baby, like, being more of his, like, actual character, not just his face. The gold stamp that they chose to put and where they put it at is also really good in my opinion. I love how it's kind of like just signifying just how much of an imposing force Hatchiyack is in this card. Like, his combination with the gold from Baby and everything, and just like the pose that he's in with like the gold stamp and everything. Oh, love this card so much. I was actually looking at it earlier before I recorded this video, and it's roughly like a $200 card. I don't know if I'm going to buy it anytime soon, but I do hope to own this card one day in my collection. Alright, next up is actually one of the cards that I pulled myself. I don't know if I'll throw in the reactions for all these cards I pulled myself, but if I do, hopefully you guys enjoy that in the video. But this card, oh man, the screenshots for these cards are not doing them justice, guys. I wish I had better screenshots for you, but oh my god, this card is so beautiful. Like, man, like the art style that they went for, like having like the X like cross and like show off each individual character, giving Vegeta a blue a blue color, sorry, Gohan a green, and I'm pretty sure Bardock has orange while Goku has red, but they could be the same color. I'm not 100% sure, but like with the texture, like showing off every single line on the card, the color, you know, all around, you know, they're not like overlapping each other at all. Like, this is one of the best cards in my opinion, and I love it so much. I'm so happy that I pulled it myself and I have it already, like as a PSA 10. I'll probably throw it up in the links if you guys want to go check that video out if I decide not to show the clip. But I rambled on about this one enough. Let's move on to the next one. Alright, so the next entry is Piccolo and Gohan, another card I pulled myself, and actually one of the most recent ones I pulled myself. I love this card, and I was so happy whenever I pulled it. I even did like a little bit with it too, with like summoning Shenron and like making a wish to him and everything. So when it like came through and I actually pulled the card, like it just made it that much more special to me. And I honestly feel like Gohan and Piccolo, if they were gonna have a secret rare, like them being together, I feel like is definitely the best course of action for it. Because I mean, if you think of Piccolo, you probably think of Gohan. If you think of Gohan, you probably think of Piccolo. So them being together, said that twice. Them being on the same card together, that's what I meant to say. Definitely love that. You know, I definitely feel like it's going to be way more sought after once the superhero movie comes out, because that's kind of their movie. And I feel like this will definitely blow up in popularity once that movie comes out overseas. But if you're like me, you know, I love cards like this that show two different characters, especially two characters like this that go together. So definitely love this card. If you guys haven't picked it up and you guys are a Gohan and Piccolo fan, definitely recommend it, because the texture and the like shattered glass, like orange background that they have featuring on this card looks amazing. Like literally the picture does not do it justice. I wish I could show you guys like more of the texture and stuff, because it looks amazing. But enough rambling about this one. Let's go ahead and move on to the next entry. Okay, so this entry is probably going to shock a lot of you. I'm sure a lot of you probably thought this was going to be my number one pick, because I'm sure a lot of people usually pick this card for their number one secret rare. But for me, I feel like there's an even better one in my opinion. But don't get me wrong, this card is amazing. Like Ultra Instinct Goku shooting a Kamehameha. I'm pretty sure this moment is from the anime whenever he's, you know, jumping over Kefla's attack and like blasting her with his Kamehameha. I'm assuming that's what this is from, but he wasn't in his pure Ultra Instinct form, so, you know, you could give or take from that. But still, I love that they have his like bottom hand like kind of coming through the Kamehameha with like the gold stamp around it, and they kept the gold stamp just around his blast, you know, and then they put the silver and purple like aura like coming back to him. Like, oh, that looks so good, like with his silver hair and everything. Like, I really hope to pull this. I'm probably, I don't know if I'll ever pull this card. I'm not paying $4 grand for a box, but but I really hope to own this card one day. I almost bought like a kind of dented, scratched up one, but I decided not to because I didn't feel like paying an assload amount of money for it, because this is the most expensive card in the Dragon Ball Super card game, I would like to imagine, or at least it's one of them, because you deal damage with this card to your opponent, then you automatically win. So it's like the Exodia, plus it's Ultra Instinct Goku, like, so you can understand why this card is so sought after and expensive to most players and collectors like myself. Alright, so our next entry on this list is Oath of Z. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are probably surprised to see this as my number 2 pick. It's number 2 for me because it's literally a card representing the Dragon Ball Z intro. And when I think of the Dragon Ball Z intro, I think of my childhood. I think of coming home every day after school, or waking up on 3 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday to go watch Toonami. And then I would watch a new episode of Dragon Ball Z on a school night, and then I would go back to school the next day, and everybody would be talking about it. Like, literally everybody. I lived in Alaska, like Kodiak Island, when I was growing up, so my school wasn't super big, but it wasn't really small either. But most of the people that went to my school loved Dragon Ball Z, and when we went to our computer class, we would sit there and print out pictures of Super Saiyan 3 Goku, or just whatever pictures we could find. We would just sit there and trace them, and that's what we would do all class. And that is such a big moment of my childhood, of just coming home every day and hearing Rock the Dragon, and the fact that this card has the exact moment from the intro, and they even went above and beyond and put the yellow aura around Goku, from the shot, from the moment where he goes Super Saiyan, the very tail end of the intro and everything. That is such a nice little touch, with every character being completely texturized, the background being completely texturized as well. My only, I kind of hated the card sideways, but I mean, it fits perfectly. It's, I love it. I think it's so cool. I honestly can't wait for it to get back to from PSA so we can see what kind of grade we got on it. But with this entry out of the way, I kind of messed up on the last one and said that we would do our honorable mentions, but I keep forgetting this card is next. So now we're going to do our honorable mentions before we get into the next pick. So these honorable mentions will be in no particular order, but the first card we're going to talk about is Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta. I think this card looks really dope. It's one of the very first secret rares that were introduced in the card game. So, it's really not it's just Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta with some gold stamp for his aura beams, stanced up to do a Big Bang Kamehameha, which looks amazing. But I don't feel like there are so many other cards on the list that I feel outshined it in a way. So that's why I kind of had to put in one of these honorable mentions. The next up card that we're going to talk about is the Wicked Saiyans. Now, it was really hard for me to determine, because at first this was going to be on my list. But then after I decided putting the Super Saiyan 4 card on here, I felt like that was enough representation from the Saiyan Showdown set, because I loved both of these cards. I would have been happy with either one of these that I picked, or that I pulled, I'm sorry. But the only reason this card didn't get on the list compared to the Super Saiyan 4 one was because this card has Turles and Raditz on it. Now, I love Goku Black, I love Broly, but Turles and Raditz being on this card, I felt like were some poor choices. So that's why the Super Saiyan 4 one was more of my desirable pick, because I loved all 4 of the characters on it and stuff like that. Still love this card. I still hope to pick it up one day, but as far as right now, I don't know if I'm really going to go out of my way to try and get it, but I still felt like it was worth mentioning on this list. Alright, so the last honorable mention we're going to talk about, and it's probably going to be a shocker to a lot of you, is Son Goku and Frieza Miraculous Conclusion. This was the first secret rare I ever pulled on the channel. I might throw up the reaction, I don't know if I will or not, but man, I was so happy when I pulled this card. I was lightly hunting for it, not something crazy, but I told myself, I was like, oh, the opening that we're doing, the one I pulled it on, this was the last time we were going to open the set. If I didn't get it, I was just going to buy them, and then we literally pulled them, and I was so happy. I love this card. I got it graded as a PSA 10. It's one of my favorite cards in my collection, but the reason it's not on the list and it's an honorable mention is because the card itself, while I love, Goku and Frieza, I love the auras that they have and everything, as far as a secret rare goes, I feel like it's really lacking. There is not a lot of texture on them, whatsoever. There's some, but there's not, hardly any on the characters themselves. And I really feel like that takes away from it because it feels more like just like a reverse holographic in that point. And you know, I love it being a secret rare. I'm glad that I have it and everything, but it just, I feel like they could have done a little bit better with like the card itself and giving it more texture and, you know, stuff like that. Like, I don't know, but you know, with all out of the way, I'll quit rambling on about this. Let's go ahead and move on to our number 1 pick. So our number 1 pick is the Apex of Power. I don't know how many of you saw this coming or not, but I love this card. I think this card is so amazing, and this was the reason why Awakened Power Son Goku was lower on my list, because this card features Ultra Instinct Goku, but with Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta. Like, it's 2 characters in one. Like, I love that. And plus they got the red and the blue like border thing going on. Like, they got the red on Vegeta's side, the blue on Goku's side. And then, you know, from like the very beginning where, you know, like good and evil, like when they first showed up in like the Saiyan Showdown. And not to mention like the whole border like around them is like breaking apart and like shattering just from like how powerful they are. Like, dude, that's so amazing. Like, I really hope to get this card in my collection one day. I know I had a really bad instance where I spent like $510 trying to get it off of somebody and I just got scammed. You know, that really sucked. That put a little dent in my little, you know, stride, but I really hope to get this card eventually one day. I know I will at some point. I just don't know when it is. But, you know, what did you guys think of my list? Did you guys enjoy it? Did you guys agree with me? Maybe there's a secret rare you felt like I neglected in some way. Let me know down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you guys. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you guys hit it with a thumbs up and, you know, like, let me know if you guys like it. I'll do more videos like this in the future. Maybe I'll do like a top 10 SPRs, SRs, maybe a top 10 sets video. Just let me know, guys. Hit the video with some support and I'll do that stuff. But make sure you guys subscribe as well so you guys don't miss any videos in the future. But with all out of the way, I think I'm going to wrap this video up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day, and I will catch you guys in the next one.